Hey everyone, it's me, Mallard. No, this title isn't clickbait. I really was laid off from my job. And not just any job, mind you, but my dream job. A job I worked for 10 years to get and to achieve. But before I go into any more detail of what had happened exactly, I think I need to start from how I got the job to begin with. About 2 years ago, I was in a situation where I was in a contract that was ending. It was with a small gaming company, and I took a huge pay decrease when I took the job because I thought it was a great opportunity to get into the gaming industry, and they made promises, of course, of permanent placement and title increases and everything most companies do to keep you working hard as a contractor. Because otherwise, what's the point if you know you're going to leave in a couple months? But I digress. So I took the lower pay at this company on the temp contract with the hopes that it would pay off, and maybe in the future another gaming company would see that on my resume and hire me based off that. Now you may be asking yourself, Mallard, why are you so adamant about working for a gaming company? Well, I'm glad you asked. Since I was young, I've always loved video games. I will never forget my earliest memory of how I felt playing and beating Turtles in Time for the first time, or the countless hours spent playing Sonic the Hedgehog or NHL 95. A lot of my most precious memories were spent playing video games. Spending the night at my cousin's house or my friend's house for a couple nights over the weekend playing games till 3 or 4 in the morning. My favorite game of all time is Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2. I'll always remember playing that game during spring break and spending a week trying to beat it. The music in Hollow Bastion brings a comforting feeling over me every time I hear it. I'll even jam Sega Genesis and PlayStation 1 music in my car on the drive to and from work. In another video, I can go into more detail about how much games really mean to me, but for now, back to getting laid off. So at the end of my contract with the previous smaller gaming company, we'll call them Company C, I then start looking for new jobs, and almost everything fell through. I would apply to a job, I would maybe get an interview, or if I was lucky, I would get an interview. Most of them just didn't pan out. And then if I did get the interview, most of the time I would get a call back saying I wasn't the right fit. And as I start to freak out because time's drawing near for my contract to end and I might be out of work, I get a contractor reach out to me. They say they're looking for permanent placement in my field for a contractor with a prominent gaming company, but they can't tell me what the gaming company is until I agree to do the position and say that I'm interested. So of course I say I'm interested, and they let me know what the name of the gaming company is. And I jump for joy. I'm so excited because this is literally the company that I dreamed of working at. This was the one that I said, not only do I want to get in the gaming industry, but I want to work for this company specifically. So I get the interview, and it's not just an interview with the hiring manager, it's an interview with 4 other leaders on that team besides the actual hiring manager. So as I'm doing the interview and answering their questions, I start to realize that I'm botching the interview. It's not going well. They don't seem very impressed with me, and I just don't think I'm going to get the job. I answered a few questions wrong just because I was nervous, and I seemed basically like I was just going through a normal interview process because I was trying to be so professional because I thought that would impress them. But as I start to realize that it's not impressing them and that I'm probably not going to get the position, I just decide, hey, I'm just going to wing it now. I'm just going to be myself. I'm not going to get it anyway, so I'll be myself and I'll just speak my mind. So I tell them that I've applied to this company multiple times throughout the years. Over the span of 8 years, I've probably applied at least 200 to 250 times. And every single time I would always get an email back saying, sorry, we're going another way. I would never even get a call back for an interview. And of course, they try to make me feel better by saying, well, it's probably just because we get so many interviews. This is a very large company. A lot of people want to work here. So, most of the time we probably never even saw your resume, to be perfectly honest, or your application. And so I just thank them. I say, you know what? I just appreciate getting the opportunity to interview with you guys. I really am honored that you even called me back to begin with. And no matter how this goes, I just want you guys to know that it was just a dream just to get the interview. Well, apparently that did the trick, I guess, because they hired me in the interview on the spot. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. You guys, I can't even tell you how happy I was. It doesn't end there though. See, this was just a contract position. It was temporary. So after 6 months, the contract would end and I would be done. But I decided if I worked my butt off and I impressed them and left a mark or an impact, then either in the future a position would open and I could reapply and they might remember me. I can make connections, or maybe while I'm there in the 6 months, a position opens and I could apply to it and potentially get hired. So, of course, I worked as hard as I could. This was my one opportunity, and I definitely wasn't going to blow it. And to my sheer joy, as I was working there in that 6 months, a permanent position opens. So I jumped at the chance and applied to it. And I wasn't the only one. I had competition. There was other contractors who were applying to this position, as well as outside employees. But of course, contractors that are already in the company get preference. So I apply and I go through the interview process, and they didn't make it easy. I interviewed 5 different times with multiple people on the team and answered some very difficult questions in order to get hired. And of course, I finally got the position. And I was so excited when they told me. I couldn't believe it. I finally did what I said I was going to do. Said I would work at this company, and I said I would work in the gaming industry, and I finally got it. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. This was the company I'd wanted to work at for 20 years. So for the next 2 years, I work at this company as a permanent employee. And I loved every minute of it. Well, I loved most of it. I will tell you this, the gaming industry as a whole, it's not everything it's cracked up to be. There's a lot of drama, like a ton of drama. I can't express to you how much drama is within the gaming industry. And this wasn't just the second company I worked at, Company D. We're talking Company C had a ton of drama too. And I've worked at other companies outside the gaming industry. And yes, there's your issues in every company, but there was significantly more within the gaming industry. And that's my overall experience while I worked there. It's pretty much like high school. There's people dating other people, talking bad about others, some people trying to get other people fired. It's pretty much a mess. Luckily, my new permanent position was going to be remote, so I was saved from the drama of being on site and in person so that I could work from home, basically. And I would get the benefits of working for the gaming company without actually having to deal with all the downsides. And everything was great. Everything was great for a long time, until a few weeks ago. See, I'm somewhat of an insomniac. I usually don't really go to bed until like 3 or 4 in the morning most nights. Some nights it's a little bit earlier, but this one particular night it was about 3:30 a.m. And I remember almost exactly the time because right when I was setting my alarm and laying my head down to go to bed, an email came through on my phone. So I checked the email and noticed it's from the president of the company. It's an email saying there's going to be another round of layoffs. And I just get this pit in my stomach. There was another round of layoffs about 8 months prior. After that first round of layoffs, a bunch of family and friends and previous coworkers of mine were reaching out to me, messaging me and calling me, asking me if I was okay and if I had gotten laid off. Because, of course, when there's layoffs happen, usually it's the newest people on the team or the worst performers or the highest earners that get laid off. And of course, after the first round of layoffs had happened and I was super excited that I wasn't a part of it, I felt bad for everyone that was. But I'm not going to lie, I was very excited it wasn't me. We were told by our leadership that there was not going to be any more layoffs, that our department was safe, and there definitely wouldn't be any more. Well, of course, that was obviously a lie or an exaggeration of the truth, because I get this email at 3:30 in the morning, which I felt like was a little unprofessional. Like, who sends an email at 3:30 in the morning saying there's going to be layoffs? But anyway, I see this email and I just get this gut feeling. I just have this feeling that something's not going to be good for me. I'm the second newest member of the team. So yeah, I just had this feeling. I figure, you know what? I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to sleep on it for now and see what happens. And maybe in the morning I'll wake up and everything will be fine. But the next morning I wake up and everything's not fine. I have some missed messages from my boss's boss, which is never a good sign, about an emergency meeting that's happening at 8 a.m. And he messaged me this at 7 a.m. and I don't start until 10 a.m. So, of course, when he messaged me, I was still sleeping. Of course, I jump up as soon as I see the message immediately and I try and log into my work computer, but I can't. I'm locked out. So I try to text message my boss and call my boss, and he doesn't respond. I don't get a response back in the text, and he doesn't answer the call. So I leave a voicemail and just wait for a reply. And for 1 hour, I'm telling you, for 1 hour, I sit and I wait, knowing full well that this is all pointing to a really, really bad sign. And finally, my boss calls to let me know what I already know, which is that myself and two other coworkers, who by chance were also the newest members of the team, have been let go. And so after that initial call with my manager, I then talk with HR about final steps. And for the next week, I sleep and stay in my room, not barely eating and pretty much just sleeping all day, not knowing really what to do. My dream's gone just like that. Everything I worked so hard for is gone. There's nothing to work toward anymore. And you might be saying to yourself, Mallard, why not work at another gaming company? First off, the gaming industry is destroyed currently. I mean, almost every gaming company had layoffs. Also, with all the drama that I experienced with being at both Company C and Company D while I was there, the drama on site at Company D, the drama and lies that I experienced from Company C, plus the low pay, the layoffs at both companies. From what I've heard from coworkers that worked at either company for long periods of time, these layoffs happen in the gaming industry regularly. About every 2 to 3 years, there are layoffs within the gaming industry. Plus, you have the low pay and everything else. It's just frustrating. They pay low because they say, well, we'll give you this and that for free. Like, oh, we'll give you free games, or we'll give you free merch, or we'll give you, we give free lunch. We'll pay for your lunch. Yeah, a lot of good that does for me if I can't pay my rent. See, I thought I was actually going to retire from Company C. Now that's never going to happen. I think these gaming companies, they're all a joke. They hire multiple people, thousands of people, to work on a game, and then that game releases and makes them billions of dollars. And after the game releases, they lay everyone that worked on that game off. The gaming industry just isn't what it used to be. It's not really about having fun and making a fun game anymore. It's more just about making money. And I know there's good small gaming companies and a lot of really good indie gaming companies, but that's the problem is, if you want a good game or a great company, you have to look at the indie companies, because they actually know what it's like to build a great game, because they're gamers themselves. A lot of them, like, you have games like Indigo Park that was created by a team of gamers. They actually love games. They love Five Nights at Freddy's and the whole mascot horror genre. So then they made one that's literally a love letter to that genre of games. And most of these games, even Stardew Valley is a perfect example of another indie game. But the problem is that we have to rely on these individual people or individual teams, small teams of people who actually want to make games. And the market is saturated and overshadowed by all these AAA gaming companies that only care about making money. So now here I am, unemployed, not sure how long until I can find my next job, or whether I'll even make rent next month. But with all that being said, I prefer to try and stay a glass half full kind of a duck. I want to look at the positive side of things. You see, now I have more time for YouTube and to stream and to make videos. And who knows, maybe everything will work out, and one day soon I'll be able to play games on YouTube for a living. I can connect with more of you guys, my flock of gamers who actually appreciate games and the gaming culture. So you know what? Don't worry about me. I'll be good. I hope to keep making entertaining videos and streams for months and years to come. Thanks all for watching. And please, if you can, like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot.